Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord. Welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. Today we've just got one card to take a look at, the new Produce SSR for Kaho. Keep in mind that she is a permanent, meaning that you'll be able to get her on any following banners once this one is over. Card is okay. It could have honestly been a lot better, and there's a couple things that I'm a little disappointed about with this card overall. Story is nice. It's great to have a card like this to wind down the end of the year. Very thematic for everything that's been going on, so cool for the story. Functionally, she's, again, okay. Not terrible, but definitely could have been a lot more useful. Wrapping up 2022, Kaho 8 has appeared as a mixed vocal visual unit, leaving Hokura with just one last card in the set already. She's another take on the duet SSRs we've been seeing since Kaho 6, and is very directly comparable to Natsuha 8 not all that long ago. The biggest takeaway is that Kaho has the better passives, while Natsuha has the better appeals by a fairly wide margin. It really does hurt this Kaho a lot, to put it frank. Kaho 8's biggest weakness is a lack of attention on her appeals, making some of the stronger vocal and visual support options she has much less consistent in an already inconsistent setup for it. Vocal Hokura can't access Gyudon Rinzai without wasting time, and visual Hokura have to completely depend on Twicolor Kaho for everything anymore, devaluing this card's appeals by a fair bit. She has solid passives for a perm, though slightly low on the activation chance, which does hurt a lot as well. Her roles are Buffer, Duet, Attention Up on her passives, and she's kind of a center, and I low to moderately recommend pulling for this Kaho. Kaho's initial skill is a Vocal 3.0 appeal that raises your Vocal by 30% for 3 turns and duets randomly with Hokura. This links into a Vocal 3.0 appeal. The 3-star version of this skill is a Visual 4.5 that raises your Visual by 60% for 3 turns and duets again randomly with Hokura, and links into a Visual 3.0. Her memory appeal when maxed out is an Attention 50% buff for 3 turns that links into a Visual maximum 4.0 appeal that scales based on how high your attention is. For the passives, Kaho's 1-star passive is a Vocal 30% up and Attention 50% up as long as it's turn 4 or earlier. This has a 20% chance to activate twice. Her 2-star passive is a Vocal Visual 70% up and Attention 100% up as long as Kaho is in your skill history. This means she's had to have appealed already while still being on the last 5 icons. So if you duet with Kaho, that also technically counts if you didn't use a Kaho appeal. The advantages of Twicolor Kaho on the visual team. This also has a 20% chance to activate twice, and it also comes with a Vocal plus 50 uncap. The second 2-star passive is a Visual 85% up if you have the full Hokago Climax Girls lineup. That means every single member has to be on the stage. This has a 20% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a Vocal Visual combined plus 100, her 4-star uncap is a Visual plus 150, and her event uncap is a Vocal plus 50. For the support recommendations, honestly, visual is the way to go, but of course remember that you only really can do that once you're at 3 stars. So because of that, her best visual support is Natsuha. This might possibly be the last time a permanent SSR is in the MVP rotation. I mean, as far as we know. Hokura have sort of a mixed bag of in-unit options for visual specifically, but Natsuha and Rinzai are still very solid. Rinzai especially is pretty good, and Natsuha is arguably one of the best permanent support SSRs we've gotten in a while. And of course then, Juri is also a pretty good complement to these cards as well. Nichika and Mikoto form a very competent visual core that you see on a lot of visual teams, and you even have cards like Toru that you can sneak in here. And of course, if you need to stall, there is always room for Daikichi. The vocal options have a bigger suite specifically for Hokura, with hard hitters like Gyudon Rinzai and Morning Glory Juri. Natsuha and Choco round out the synergy for this team, which makes a very good core in something like Step, due to all the unit mastery going on and a decent amount of stamina as well. Asahi and Fuyuko continue to be a great pair for permanent vocal supports, and we can't forget Flower Stand Meguru, the somewhat recently buffed support for vocal and visual, in case you just needed a little bit of both. On to the grades. Kaho, as a center, gets a B. This memory appeal is not the worst thing in the world, all things considered. You could definitely find worse memory appeals to use. Getting the full damage out on this memory isn't really all that difficult despite everything, as Hokura still have plenty of attention up passives to work with in their main lineups, even if it's not really that much associated with their appeals nowadays. If you want to use Juri 8 as a canon unit for the visual team, there might be use for Kaho 8 as a visual build. As a unit, she gets a B-. This card was so close to being an A tier card, but the lack of attention on appeal really brought this card down compared to something like P-SSR8, who actually did have that, as opposed to the buff that Kaho gives. Since Kaho raises stats, P-SSR raises attention. I really wish that Kaho could have just also raised attention, but then she would just be the P-SSR card again, because they were both vocal visual, which is kind of funny. But makes sense. Her stat uncaps are good, and the passives, despite having sorta low activation chances, 20% is not amazing, 30% used to be the standard, and anything beyond 30% is fantastic. 20% is serviceable, but it could have been much better. And they're overall solid despite this. She's certainly not a bad card to get on a reroll in the future, but she might have a chance as a high point card in Grade Fest due to obscurity. The card isn't necessarily some kind of like gangbuster crazy card that's going to drastically change how Visual Hokura plays. So that means that if a Kaho card is out of favor because people have been using her too much, they may be able to swap to this Kaho to earn themselves some extra points. So, that will do it for the video today. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, and have a happy holiday for those tuning in on that appropriate day. Next time we'll be talking about whatever banner comes next, but I also have at least one more thing I want to get uploaded before the year is over. So let's look forward to that together as well. Till next time, I've been Cho, thanks for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day.